Yeah, it looks like a bomb's hit it in here. Anyway, we've got the boat out of the water, and as it was raining, as we got the mast down, I went home and had lunch, and I thought I'd ride here on the motorbike. So you get two videos in one. Those of you that have been interested and asking me what's happened to the bike and how it's going, there you go. I don't think it's a bit like boats really. It's never quite finished, but it's at least rideable now, and it's very good. Meanwhile, the boat hauling out at Medway Yacht Club is always really straightforward. Steve, Chris, Kyle, the crew here, they pack a load of boats in here, so they have a good slick system on how to do it. Because of COVID and the effects that's had on people using the boats, it's obviously affected the rotor they had worked out for boats coming out of the water, because our original intent was to come out in December when they'd got everyone else out. Because I knew I wanted to get the mast down, the space next to the mast lift, the mast crane, is kind of the last thing to be filled. So I thought, if we're the last ones out, it can stick us underneath the mast lift. We've got plenty of time to do it. Lots of reasons why. Anyway, it made more sense to get the boat out now and get the mast down. And getting the mast down, it's quite an easy thing to say, isn't it? And really isn't that hard a thing to do, but it is quite involved. Obviously you've got to take the sails off, which when I took them off last weekend well, it wasn't blowing a gale, but it was cold, very wet and miserable. Wasn't a lot of fun on my own. Then you've got all the lines, where we have a lot of lines here led back to the cockpit. All those lines obviously have got to then be taken off or tied to the mast so that they can come out with the mast. There's all the electrics, which was the last thing I had to do. Fortunately, when I was lifted out, Chris volunteered to hose it off, which is great. Thank you very much, Chris. Which meant I could carry on in here, because the one thing I hadn't done, we cleared out a lot of the stuff from down below, and I'd got everything kind of ready to go. I'd got all the little split pins out of the turnbuckles and stuff, but the one thing I hadn't done was the electrics. So with Chris hosing off, I could come in and hose this off. Sorry, with Chris hosing off, I could come in here and sort out the electrics. The one thing that made that complicated was that the wire that goes to the radar, as far as I can tell, didn't have a connector in it. I've pulled about 2 meters of spare cable out from the top of the headlining, but what's left is going the other side of this bulkhead and then underneath the moulded in headlining that is in the V-berth until it gets to the cupboard, and it goes down the cupboard. And if there's a connector somewhere in that space, I can't get to it anyway. So in the end, we just decided I'm going to cut it. I hope that's not going to come back and haunt me, because it is at the end of the day just a multi-strand, six cores or whatever, albeit very thick copper wire. If anyone knows, it's a Furuno or whatever radar, probably 20 years old. I imagine it was on the, well, certainly imagine it was on the boat when it came here, if it's not got, when it was built, as it's not got a connector in it. Anyone knows the appropriate connector block to join that back up again, please leave a message. Can't leave it in our comments because our comments are always disabled, but on our homepage in the community tab we always set a place up to discuss things about our films. If you can leave a message there, if you know what to do with it, be much appreciated. Anyway, then it's just a matter of hooking the mast to the mast lift, the mast crane, undoing all the turnbuckles, and lifting the mast up. And then fortunately, because it was sitting on the travel hoist at the time, we could kind of pick the mast up, move the boat out of the way, then lower the mast down. You haven't got much film with that because I'm here on my own. Hannah and Elizabeth's at school. This is a Friday. Hannah's at work, and I took some time off work to come and do this. Anyway, we're now sitting on the cradle. We're on the hard. I'm going to take a few other bits off. I've got to tape up like the holes in the roof where the electric go through and stuff to make sure we don't get any leaks. As it happened, the guy from Pier Rigging was here measuring up a few other masts that need rigging, so I've had him had a look at mine, so hopefully that'll sort out the rigging quite quick, because we also want to get some new sails, and they obviously want some measurements or see the boat. to work out the cut of the sail. So it's in my interest to get the mast back up again so I can sort that out. And then there's a big list. I'm not going to bore you with a list. I'll film whatever seems appropriate on the list. I'm not going to film it all. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'm Ian. This is Sailing with the Foxwell family. When you see us next, I'll either be in a dinghy, I imagine, or showing you how I'm doing some of the jobs on the boat. It's a big list. Catch you later.